Hey guys, Wes here from the Down Under Centre. Plumbing skills assessment, what's involved for a plumbing skills assessment? So firstly, I'm one of the assessors for Australia Trade Training College with the Down Under Centre through the TRA program. There's two things we've got to understand about a skills assessment for plumbing. The first thing, it's a document you need whenever you're applying for a permanent residency visa. And the other part of the skills assessment for pretty much every state of Australia, it's a required document you need to gain your provisional plumbing registration, which we'll talk about in a little bit. So what is a skills assessment? A skills assessment for plumbing is broken into three stages. The first start of the skills assessment, I always feel it's the hardest part. It's you proving on paper you've got the necessary skills. To be eligible for the required skills assessment, you have to have a relevant qualification with a minimum of 4 years full-time paid work experience. If you don't have a relevant qualification, we can use 6 years of full-time paid work experience. Now, you've got to be careful if you're applying onshore for a skills assessment, so definitely call our team because you have to have a certain amount of experience offshore because we can only claim 1 year of experience onshore via the TRA program. So the first part, proof of employment, pay documents, tax documents, references, CV. Please note this is an assessment, not a course as well. Okay, like any skills assessment, like it is an assessment. So immigration have outsourced the assessment for us to deliver the assessments for the purpose of migration and also for registration as a licensed trade. So documentary assessment, pay documents, tax documents, references, CVs. We don't ask for photos and videos. This is a licensed trade. The second part of a skills assessment is you do a technical interview with myself or one of the other assessors. The technical interview consists of questions. We're not asking you questions in regards to the Australian regulations or UK regulations or Canada regulations, wherever you're from. It's just on the general principles of plumbing. Then the third part, you'll do a one-day practical assessment, either from our office the offices will change as this video gets exposure to it, but you do it from our office in the UK, and we've got an office in Australia as well that will conduct the practical assessment. We'll get you to do what we call is a rough-in. Some people call it a first fix. We'll get you to do some copper work. Pretty straightforward, to be honest. It's just compression, fittings, as well as following a diagram, making sure you're using the correct tools, making sure you've got the basic plumbing principles, and then we'll get you to do a drainage task. At the completion of that, you'll then receive the document you need for the visa, for any permanent residency visa, as well as a document you need to get your provisional plumbing registration once you arrive in Australia. What are the costs? Now, before I talk about the cost, there's two stages to a skills assessment. You've got pathway 1, which is going to be 99% of people which don't hold an Australian qualification because it's very hard to get an Australian qualification as a plumber without doing the gap training. You need to do these skills assessments, get your provisional license, and then be eligible for the gap training. So try not to sneak past that because you will have trouble with the state regulators. So in Australia, each state and territory has a different regulator, and the skills assessment is required for you to gain that provisional license. Once you've got the provisional license, then you need to do what's called the gap training. Okay, so there's 3 stages to the plumbing skills assessments. These do not get paid to us; they get paid to TRA. And then TRA pay us to deliver the assessment on their behalf. So the skills assessment first stage is 1,120 Australian dollars for the documentary assessment. As I said earlier, this is an assessment, not a course, so it's a pass or a fail. The second part of the skills assessment is a technical interview where they're going to charge you a fee of 2,000 Australian dollars. And for the one-day practical assessment, the fee is 2,200 Australian dollars. And this is the same for all licensed trades, plumbers, electricians, and refrigeration mechanics. So there is the 3 stages to the skills assessment. It is mandatory that you gain this skills assessment if you're looking to apply for any permanent residency visa. If you are going on an employer-sponsored visa, 100% expect to be doing the skills assessment either on arrival or if you can be getting all the documentation prior to arriving. It's definitely going to help your journey to Australia. Now, the gap training. So the gap training can only be done in Australia. There's a few different gap training providers. We'll obviously give you the information when you're at that point of our preferred provider at that time, but that will also depend on the state and territory you move to. Currently, this video is being recorded on the 2nd of the 12th, 2025. So every state of Australia will accept the skills assessment. A part of the skills assessment is the OTSR, Offshore Technical Skills Record. You give that to your state regulator and they will issue you your full your full provisional electrical plumbing registration. And now Queensland's the only state that will currently make you do a 4-hour open book exam. For our clients, we have the reg books when you arrive that you can borrow to sit that exam, and our client manager will be able to run through all of that at the time. Whenever I'm doing the practical assessments, I'll always do a bit of a Q&A session on the practical day to give the plumbers a chance to ask questions and get the relevant information on what's regarding or how the gap training works. But you definitely need to get your skills assessment complete prior to doing that. Now, the Down Under Centre have a agency service, which we highly recommend everyone uses. The agency service is what we've had for probably 15 years, where we provide a service where, for our plumbers, we'll work with you to gather all the documentation you need for a successful skills assessment. At the same time, we'll also be working with you to gather all the years of evidence you need for the visa if you're going on a skilled visa. We'll give you a practice English exam preparation. We'll give you access to the DUC Employment Hub. We actually put all of our clients in the one Facebook group, which doesn't sound like much, but it's actually very good because the emotional side of migration is just as challenging as an English test and a skills assessment. So we'll do that for you as well. How we do everything is we'll give you access to what we call as a client portal. And the client portal will explain to you exactly what's required for the skills assessment, as well as the years of evidence we need for the visa. And the person at the other end of that portal is a client manager. And their role is to answer all your questions and to get you through gather all the documentation required for a positive skills assessment. Once we know you've got the relevant information, then we advise you pay the TRA fees, and then we'll conduct the skills assessment on that path. So do fill in our free visa points calculator. I hope these videos help. We also do monthly migration webinars. We've done this since 2013, the first Tuesday of every month, where 8 o'clock UK time. We sort of work that around, wherever country you're living in, to figure that out. But they're very, they're very good. We get lots of positive results from them. And I wish you all the best for your journey to Australia. All right, take care, everyone. Bye.